up and it's good and solid, and it's level. And so now, if you remember, I told you that I bought this cooler off a friend of mine about 20 years ago. Well, I've got a problem with it now. Let me show you. As I was cleaning this thing out, I noticed a couple of problems. One of them is right there.
Uh-oh.
See, there's a hole right there. And there's another hole right about there. See it? And there's another little tiny hole right there, if you can see it from my shadow there. In any case, there's 3 holes in here, and this thing has not leaked before. And I just noticed these just now. There's something curious, too, is you see this goop around this hole. That hole isn't new. That's been there. I think a friend of mine 20 years ago patched that up, and it's held all this time. It looks like there's a little bit of tar or something there. Same thing with that hole right there just below the spout. So what I'm going to do is to patch it up is, this is a bit unconventional, but if you ever tried this stuff, it's called liquid tape. And it's really for electrical work and things like that. But I've used it on a few other applications, and boy, it works really good, because you know what it does is it's kind of thick and it adheres to what you're trying to adhere to, and it does hold really well. So I'm going to try to patch it up with that. Let me see if I can put this. Okay, I hope you can see that. What I've done is I've swept this out. Now let me get this out of the way so you can see what I'm talking about here. Well, there's the hole right there. I hope you can see over it. But I know it doesn't look that clean, but I have cleaned it out. And let's try this. So here we go. And see what I mean about it being rather thick. And even though it's thick, maybe that hole's too big. Maybe I'll put a little bit on there and let it set up a little bit and put some more. Now that hole's kind of small, so that should work. And then the one behind here is kind of small too. So we'll just daub that on there. And look at that. This one's not going through, so what we'll do is we'll just pile some on here and let it set. Now my experience has shown that, as crude as that looks as far as fixing up a leak, it does work. Now I've done this underwater before in other kind of containers, because you know this with the aquaponics and and hydroponics and stuff like that, you've got a lot of troughs and things like that, and containers that contain water, and once in a while they'll get a hole in them. And this stuff works great. So let's see if it works good in this cooler. Now this bottom doesn't look like it's falling apart or anything, so I think it's still got a lot of years left in it. It's curious about these holes though, because they look like they have been patched before, and I didn't do it. And I've had this thing, boy, let's see, since about 1989, something like that. That's a long, it's 2016 now, just for reference. So I've had this a long time, and I didn't patch those holes up, so somebody else did. But anyway, we'll let those settle and let those dry, and then we'll try and use this later on. So that's how you patch up a hole. Everything else seems to be working. See, all the machinery works. I've got to replace this float right here, because this that's no good. It's a piece of junk. So, and I knew that when I took it apart. When I took it down, I mean. So anyway, but we got a cooler back up, and like I said before, it's likely, because this is so much bigger, I'll probably have to get another one, so we'll have 2 of them. But we'll try it with one first. I got all the watering hose and everything hooked up, and I turned it on. As you can see, it's a little wet inside there. Anyway, it filled up and it started working fine, and I thought, well, you know, this is going to take a while, so I think I'll go somewhere. So anyway, I come back in a couple hours, and I found it was leaking like a sieve right, let's see if I can get it right here. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there's a hole there, a big hole.
There it is.
I didn't see that before, but you notice one thing. This is all surrounded by tar. So that hole was there before, and somebody patched it up. Anyway, so what I've done is I pulled the plug and let it drain out, and I'm trying to let it dry out now, so I'm going to have to patch that up with some more of this green tape stuff. And you know, this stuff works really well because none of the leaks that I've patched up have started leaking again. Now I know that's just a day or two I put it on there, but I've used this in other places, and as long as you keep the sunlight off of it, I think, because I really haven't tried it where there's sunlight is, it lasts a long time. And because there's going to be covers on this over there, there's not going to be sunlight in here anyway, so if that is a factor, which I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, there's not going to be any sunlight in there anyway. So, what I got to do is patch that up and wait for it to dry, but first I got to get a wire brush and brush that all out real good so we have something solid or clean to put that glue on or that goop on. Okay, coming around the back side here, if you remember, I had to do a little work on this cooler to get it to go. And as you can see, it is running. You can hear it running. But look down there. The wood is still a little damp, but it's not wet. See, I fixed up the leaks. They stopped leaking. And if you look in here, you might see some water running. So that kind of shows you that this is working. There you can see water right up here. See it flowing down? It is working. And there's a hornet trying to get in there. He still thinks he lives there or something. I don't know. Where is he? Yeah, well, whatever. And there's some on this side. This is working. I've got to put new mats in here. But anyway, as you can see, it stopped leaking. It's working. And